What's up, world? It's Just Rislanca, and today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. Today, I'm going to be talking about the notes I gathered from reading The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Like, this book right here has definitely been, let's just say that I'm the type of reader who not only highlights in their books, but I also like to apply rapid change. I'm not just reading just for fun. I'm reading to apply these things into my life. So if you don't really have time to read the book, I'm gonna go ahead and break it down for you into the things that just really pulled my attention and the things that I'm going to be applying into my life. So one of the first things I took notes on is quadrant 2. Where my quadrant 2 people at? This book basically talks about in life is broken down into 4 quadrants. So in the first quadrant, that's where things that are important and urgent take place. That's like things you can't really control, a funeral or your car tire broke down. Those are things you can't control. Those are things that are important and need to be handled. Those are the fires you need to put out right away. Quadrant 2 are the things that are the maintenance things in life, which is going to the gym, eating right, taking your vitamins, reading, self-care, building relationships. Quadrant 2 is the part that is so easy and it's the little things, but because it's the little things, we overlook it and those become the big things later. So in quadrant 2, you're supposed to be really focusing there. And in quadrant 3, those are the things that we do day to day. Like that's our work, that's our taking care of our children, that's the day-to-day things that we need to do. And then in quadrant 4, it's just nonsense. Nothing is really happening there. You're scrolling on Instagram, you're either just laying down, not really, you're not really focusing on the things you need to do. You're just wasting idle time. So moral of the story is you need to be focused on quadrant 2 so that it doesn't really become a quadrant. So it doesn't become a quadrant 1 thing. Okay, so you ever seen people who just seem to always have it together in life? Well, that's not like a whole mystery. It's nothing too hard behind it. The people who seem to be able to be there for their children, they seem to be able to overachieve at work, they seem to have the greatest relationships. The secret behind it is that they're quadrant 2 focused people. And in quadrant 2, you basically stay ready so you never have to get ready. So it talks about managing your time wisely. And it's this whole part, it gets nitty gritty. Like, let me speak on it a little bit. So when it comes to managing your time wisely, this is where being effective and efficient matters, because what's the most valuable currency in life right now? It's not money. It's time and attention. You can never get that back. And you can only focus on one thing at a time, especially if you want to do it right. So first things first, being available for everything already drops your value down. So you're not managing your time wisely if you don't have a plan. And saying yes to everything, like always being that person that is always there, it's not always a great thing. And I know that's gonna contradict with building relationships, but there has to be a fine balance where you are going to places and your value is appreciated because you're not always super available. You get what I mean? And you're not super available, not because you want to be arrogant. It's because you have a bigger yes. So you say no, saying no, that's what it talks about as well. Saying no becomes easier because you have a bigger yes. So you can't just be going to a bunch of different events that people invite you to if you have things to do. You only have 24 hours in a day. So you need to find a way to be there for people and be there for yourself. But pick and choose the events that you choose to go. You don't got to be showing up everywhere. You got to put time into yourself. The book also talks about the difference between being effective and being efficient. And in life, I'm not going to lie to you. I kind of was caught up before reading this book, I was very caught up in quadrant 3 and quadrant 1. Quadrant 1, I'm having a hard time saying this word. In quadrant 1, I was focused on I always had emergencies. Things were always popping up, but that was because I wasn't really maintaining. And that was causing me not to be able to build relationships with people. And I'm going to go in a little deeper as to why you need to build relationships with people. But in quadrant 3, I was also one of those people that was like, I'm always working. If it's not about work, don't talk to me. I'm work, gym, home. But that is not really, that's not the way you get to be a person who has it all together. Because To be interdependent, so this is where this book, I'm like, let me know if I'm going too fast. You might need to like run it back. And after I explain this, you're gonna need to read the book to really understand what I'm saying in this video. So you're gonna have to experience a whole paradigm shift. Let's start there. Paradigm shift meaning how you view the world, because you're gonna need to begin to take accountability. And before you can take accountability, you need to have integrity. You gotta be a person that whatever you do in front of other people, you are doing it behind closed doors, and you're able to take accountability for when you mess up. You just have that integrity within yourself, you know what I mean? And not a lot of people have that, but I'm not here to throw shots. So being able to be accountable and have integrity will allow you to be a person who is now moving from dependency to being independent. The only way you will reach the third level of the paradigm shift is, and the third level being interdependency. And what interdependency means is being a person who is not only a leader, but you can work within teams. Because the reason why I read this book and the reason why it was recommended to me and I felt like I needed to read it was because I'm at a space now where I want to be more of a effective person in life. And that only happens through being with teams and fellowship. And being an independent person is great and all, but you can't make it to the top by yourself. You need a team. And the only way you will work well within a team and a team will be effective and efficient is if everybody in the team is independent, which will then cause the synchronicity where it becomes interdependent. I hope I am moving too fast. So interdependent is when you're independent, but you can work well within a team and you have accountability and integrity within the team. So it's gonna take a lot of big girl and big boy strength to be able to have this paradigm shift within yourself, to call yourself out before anyone else can call you out. Showing up. Now, this is how you build relationships. It's not always, oftentimes we're not great listeners. We're great talkers. We have conversations and we're waiting to just have another, we're ready to just talk. We're listening to the person to just give an answer. We're not really listening to the person to get deep into what they're saying. So when it comes to building relationships, you shouldn't be building relationships to then use that as a means to an end to use someone. You should be building relationships just to build relationships, and then it will become a means to an end. But you shouldn't be using people. You get what I'm saying? So when it comes to building the relationships, you need to really be able to effectively communicate. Like, actually listen to what this person is saying. Don't go and like be throwing advice down their throat. Just listen and maybe ask questions. Maybe the person just needs a shoulder to lean on. You know what I mean? I think those are all of my notes, honestly. This book, I mean, I hope I didn't ramble too much, but this was definitely a spoiler alert. I'm so excited, I can't even speak. This video is definitely a spoiler alert if you haven't read this book already. Like, I highly recommend, if you want to become just a better person in life, to read this book. You know, after reading it, it definitely inspired me to become a better person on my team, be a better person in my family, as far as like just building that relationship again between me and my siblings. It just makes me see the weak areas in my life because I'm exercising what? Accountability, because I do have integrity. I'm not doing this for show. I actually want to be a better person within. So if you haven't read this book already, I highly recommend. Now, you know, a person who doesn't read is just as equal to a person who can't read. So where my book readers at? This channel, I'm gonna be talking about books. I'm actually reading another book right now. I'm not gonna tell y'all what it is. I want you to drop in the comments what book you want me to read next. And if you read this book, what sparked the change and who inspired you to get this book? You know what I mean? Because who reads anymore? You know what I mean? Like, I really wanna just make this cool again. So once again, it's your girl, Just Rislanca, and thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate you. Have a great day.